Hey, good evening, my good people. Uh, we have a good episode tonight in Let's Talk. This episode will focus on a topic that is it seems like a blatant statement, but it's very vast. It's called Moving Forward Requires Closure. And basically, in order to move forward, you may have to close some issues that may be from your past, your far past, or your present future. Tonight, we have the distinguished co hosts Keisha and Shakita. They're here. They've arrived. They're in the building. Uh, we're on Facebook in the Let's Talk group. We're also in the Assisting People One Person at a Time group. I had put it in the group yesterday, and I was actually an accident, so I decided to put it in the group again today as well as we're on YouTube and Periscope. If you're on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. This is the way that you'll get alerts for any content that we may put on the page. Uh, Rel, just make sure that you like this live, Rel. That's what you do, because I see you in the comments early. Go ahead, Shakita. You want to take it away?
I guess so. So after the conversation we had yesterday about are there any good men or are there any good women that are out there, I started thinking about closure and how sometimes people find it difficult to find, um, said relationship. And a lot of times it's because they don't have the closure that they believe they need or they think they require, or just kind of being held back from finding that good man or woman because of them believing that they need closure. So I just thought that it would be good to have a great conversation around closure. As far as what do you think? Do you require closure? Do you need it? What do you believe closure is? What do you think closure consists of? Um, is closure helpful? Does it help you move on from your relationship, or does it hinder you? Um, I just think that heart of the ending of relationships or beginning of relationships, I think it stops it from happening because you could be again holding on to past relationships or past hurt. It could be hurt from parents. It could be all kinds of things. Some people are hesitant to make friends because of damaged relationships that they've had with friendships. And it makes it hard to move on even after you've been single or believed to be or feel healthy mentally and socially. And once you get to a place where you are pursuing a new relationship, you can't it stops you because then you realize that you have all of these unsaid feelings, and it makes it difficult to move on in a relationship.
Before we get to Keisha, I just wanted to mention, because I forgot to mention, that we also have a call-in number for call-in show as well as text. Now, if you decide to call in, uh, everybody may not be able to hear you. I will hear you clearly if you call in. I'll try to take any questions and statements as possible. Let's try to be respectful. The area code is 570-795-4283. And Keisha, what do you have to say about closure?
So I, for me, was a person previously that required closure. The older I get, not so much. But I do think that for some people, it's something that's needed to move on, whether it's closure from your parents or whether it's closure from a relationship or someone in your family or a friendship, because friendships are relationships too. Um, so it's not something that I necessarily require, but it is something that I've had to given out um, in my life where the other party requires closure. Um, for me, I kind of deal with it and move on, but other people do need that conversation um, to get them the ability to move on, which could be a good thing because it could be blocking them for the new good things that's coming into their life.
Well, I believe that closure is important as well, and I'm glad that you guys decided to want to talk about this because there is. I personally believe in my personal life that in order to move forward with certain aspects of my life, I did need to have closure, whether it was issues with one of my parents, because that affected. First of all, let me just explain. Let me be a little bit more detailed. Um, I had issues with my mom at the time, and that was probably my issues with, and it affected issues probably in relationships. So, in order for me to have, I believe, to have healthy relationships, not just with my personal relationships, but even my relationships with other females, I had to get through issues that I had with my mom as well. So that was able for me to move forward. I don't. You have certain standards, or what is a you have a quick fuse, so to say. Sometimes we are very quick fused based upon our past situations. So I believe, without proper closure, sometimes the person might not be able to move fast. Some people just keep going and just don't even want closure. They just be like, whatever, the hell with it, and they keep blaming the blame game. So that's my little short topic spill on the topic. What do you think, Keita?
Well, I find that like you'll be having a conversation with somebody, or you could be, and that could be in the beginning of like a dating stage. And you could be dating somebody and spending time with them and really trying to get to know them. And you don't realize how difficult it is to try to get to know someone who is holding back. They could be holding back for all kinds of reasons, right? But we're talking about closure. So for anybody who wants to question it. We're talking about closure. So if you're in the process of getting to know someone, spending time with them and trying to get to know them, and um, they're not opening up to you, and or they're not allowing themselves to be transparent. A lot of that is from hurt and from pain and from different, the way that the relationship had gone or went. So here they are pretending as if they're healthy and they're fine and they're capable of getting to know you and spend time with you, but they won't have any discussions about, their relationships or past. So there's certain things that they won't do with you because of certain things that have happened with them or happened to them. And they don't realize that a lot of that comes from not or comes from them feeling like they didn't have the closure they needed to move on from the relationship. Some people are just entirely too tough for me, right? They're angry, they're mean, and they're nasty, and they don't need any closure, and they could care less about how anybody else feels, and they move on. There's a difference between being that way and then also saying to yourself, I need to process this on my own, because that's how I feel. I used to need closure. I used to be so upset. Like, like, talk to me. Let me explain it to me. I need to understand what's happening. I need to understand what's going on. I don't understand why this is happening this way. I don't understand why you did that. And again, I'm a different type of communicator. So if I did something to somebody if I did something to you and it was deliberate, I have absolutely no problem telling you. So if whatever, I don't care if I cheated on you. I don't care if whatever it is. If we're in a relationship and I did something deliberate, I can explain to you why I did it. And you'll sometimes, as myself, I can get a little emotional. So what I'll need from you is to literally explain everything to me. And this person can't do that. And they don't want to, or they don't want to face the conversation, or they don't like the confrontation. So they don't want to talk, and they don't want to do it. I learned that no matter what I expect from this other person or what I need this person to say to me, closure is something that I have to do for myself. I need to understand, I have to process whatever's happening on my own. So if this is a breakup, I need to process that breakup by myself. We're broken up. How do I need to reach out to somebody and constantly be in contact and constantly call you and constantly need you to explain to me where everything went wrong when I'm no longer connected to this person, or this person doesn't want to be connected to me anymore? You have to let it go, and you have to allow yourself to process how you feel. Just go through the motions. If you wake up and have something else you want to say, write that shit down on paper. Stop reaching out, stop calling, develop your own closure. Just like with parents, just like right now, I know I have people that I know who have lost their parents during this time. and there was no closure when somebody that you love just is one day here, the next day gone. How do you process that type of closure? That's the kind of closure I feel like everybody needs, and I believe that that kind of closure is healthy. And you can't get it from somebody who's not here, but you can also go to therapy. There's grief counseling that you can go to help you and help provide the closure that you need, or help understand those feelings that you have, right? Even in bad relationships or marriages, people divorce all the time, and you can't seem to flourish in your next relationship. You've been in a relationship a year and a half, and it's not flourishing. It's not doing all of the things that it would have done before you've been so hurt. You probably need to figure out how to go to counseling. You probably need to go to counseling so you can figure out how you feel so that you can live an abundant life. And then people think, well, I'm fine. I'm over that. I'm with this person now. I'm happy. But it's not flourishing. It's not going where you want it to go. Or people who can't maintain healthy relationships or behave as if they can't find the love of their life and they keep meeting wrong people. A lot of that, it comes from not being able to let go of old past feelings or old past hangups. If you can't let them go and you can't process it on your own, therapy could probably therapy could possibly be an option. You can't ask where all the good men and the good women are and act like you don't see them. They're everywhere, right? But everybody isn't what you consider a good man or a good woman either. So I'm not saying that everybody's a good man or a good woman. It all depends on your standards. But find what you need when you need it so that you can move on and live an abundant life.
Keisha, what you
I
think?
I always wonder, like listening to Shakita, like at this point in my life, I don't really require closure, right? Um, Even listening to you, Quentin, I got an older brother and an older sister. They probably need closure from my parents where I don't, because they instilled in me to say whatever you need to say.
Mm,
So a lot of times I say what I need to say. But when I was a younger woman, when it came to relationships, you would want closure. Like, why is this going this way? You would have that conversation. I have developed um discernment or a way, like you kind of know when things are not working. I'm always open to discussion. What I'm always saying, agree to disagree. So I kind of feel like you kind of know you're getting the closure as you go through the process. And that could be of something that's wrong from my part. Like, I know my son's father, he said to me not too long ago, like, I want to talk to you, I want to tell you, he wants to go over where things went wrong, where I'm like, for what? I've moved past that. If I'm having this conversation, I'm only having it for you. This is not a
right. And then they
conversation that I need.
Right. And then they make you feel guilty, like,
They
well, you're not letting me
definitely.
explain myself. You're not letting me
Right,
tell you how sorry I am. It's
right,
like it's like I've already processed it. I've already
right.
gone to that place. This is for you. And it's not fair for you to put that on me, because that's how I've had to tell people. Like, if we've broken up and we no longer, just say we broke up and it was bad and it's over. I'm chilling, minding my business, sleeping well at night, maybe already going on a few dates, living my best life. I've talked to my girlfriends to death about it. It's over. 3 to 6 months later, here you come. Oh, I just wanted to talk to you and I just needed to tell you. Let me get a little bit more specific, because I think that helps, because I don't want people to, I'm very transparent. I love a good story, right? So let me tell y'all a real true story. So this guy I was dating for like 4 years. Um, we were seeing each other for like 4 years, and it wasn't the best relationship, but it definitely wasn't the worst. It wasn't like we were fighting and arguing and all that other stuff. It wasn't like that. We just kind of wasn't compatible. I don't know. It was just something to be doing, I guess, at the time. I don't know. I can't even really describe it at this point. Back then, I probably could. So his aunt had a birthday party, and I knew her before I knew him. So I go to the birthday party. I was a little uncomfortable, and we had been broken up for like a year, hadn't spoken or anything. So the aunt reaches out to me and says, I know you haven't RSVP'd to my party, but I really want you to come. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I just want to let you know that it's all women will be there. He's not going to be there. And his new girlfriend isn't going to be there either. And she was like, she was like, I don't know her that well to invite her to my, like, say 50th birthday party. So she's not, I said, okay, fine, I'll go. Go on to the party, get to the party, having a great time. And it is all women and we're having a blast. Halfway through the party, who walks in and shows up? Him and the girlfriend. And, I didn't say anything, minding my business. So my mother keeps calling me. She's asking me different things. I don't remember what was going on. Something's going on with my family. So I was like, let me just go home. It's late anyway. And I can have the time to talk to my mother and we can sort out what was going on. So I'm on my way walking to the car and I hear, footprint feet behind me. And I turn around and I look and it's him. Now, the whole time I was in the party, he ignored me. He didn't pay me any attention. And that was fine. I was completely somewhere else. So he follows me to my car. And I turned around and I looked at him and he was like, I just wanted to make sure you were safe. I was following you in your car. And I was like, what's going on? Like, what's up? So he tells me that he wants to talk. He has all of these things that he wants to say. Now he's in a whole new relationship, but he at this point felt like he needed some kind of closure. And I looked him in his face and I said, how unfair is it for you to now want to dump your shit on me after we have not been together in a year and you're happily in a completely different relationship with somebody else? It's not fair. You have to figure out whatever it is that you're thinking, whatever you're going through, you need to do that on your own because I can't help you. But that was in October. That turned into 3 months of this person reaching out, calling, begging, and asking me to please talk to them. Eventually, I had to just stop responding so that I had to block him so he could just stop reaching out. You can't make everybody shit your shit. If you don't need closure and you don't, I wasn't trying to be mean, but that ship had that time frame of the closure had ended. So it's unfair. Everybody has to kind of, and if I don't want your closure, if I don't need it like you do, it's not fair for you to dump it on me. So you also have to think of that way too. Like, and I know it can feel like mental abuse because I used to, like, if somebody wanted to call me and talk, I would feel bad. Respond to it, all right, I just want to apologize for what I did. I would be like, all right, cool, that's fine, you can apologize. But it's almost like, I don't need anybody's apology. I don't want your apology. I don't want to hear it. And I feel bad, but I'm just no longer at that place anymore where I'm going to allow somebody to dump their shit on me. Because I've learned how to manage without closure. So I get it. I know.
I know somebody that I know very well. They're going through issues with closure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's more like the closure done turned to guilt because the person that they wreaked havoc with for most of their life passed away. So then they boo-hoo. They even give you the crocodile tears when they talk about that person. But really it's guilt because they wreaked havoc in that person's life for so long. And they don't even realize that other people know what they did. So when they speak about the person, they try to speak about them in glowing terms like they was close when that individual died. And that really wasn't the case. And me myself, when I see that person, I'm around that person, I kind of laugh to myself because I'm like, you don't even understand the extent of the harm that you caused when you was wreaking your havoc. And everybody else know. Everybody know that you caused this person a lot of grief before they died. And you see that a lot. And some people say that when people die, the ones who can't handle it well or maybe going crazy be the ones that be guilty. I know in this particular case I'm talking about, this particular individual should have a lot of guilt because they did a lot of havoc. And like I explained earlier, I was in my personal situation where sometimes you do feel bad about something you've done to somebody in the past. So you real apologetic, but you
Mhm.
can't, even though you might seek closure, you can't let that stuff hold you hostage
Right.
Right.
because you'll be feeling bad and like the person that you did something bad to could have forgave you and be like, I ain't thinking about that. We done grew and I done moved on. You moved on, but you still feel some type of remorse, and maybe that's a good thing that you feel remorse. But you can't let that stuff hold you hostage.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, counseling is important. Writing it down is important. For me, for my friendships and my family relationships, those are the more that if I don't hold it in, and if it's something that I need to say, that I say it. If that, I don't think it gets to the point of closure, but it gets to, well, we need to have a conversation because you said this or you did this and it bothered me. Outside of that, I don't think romantic relationships, for where I'm at right now in my life, that's not something that really require closure. But I am stuck in a place like Shakita says, where you know this ex-boyfriend will call. He wants to apologize. I have heard them out, you know, for whatever reason. I think for some women at some point, you feel good to hear them out, even if you're over it. Like, see, they talk about how miserable you are, which could be a ploy to get back in your drawers. But still, I think for some women, it makes them feel good.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but like once I'm done, I'm done.
And
Unless you
just
don't want to raise your numbers up, I don't know.
just a program, just a programming note for those that's watching, and for us next on May 8th, I'm gonna have a clinician. I'm interviewing a clinician that I know very well. He's a close friend of mine, and he's in the therapy realm. He's not a psychologist. He is a licensed alcohol drug counselor, and
Mm.
he's coming on next week to give an insight on what he does, his history. He grew up in the hood, as we say. Um, been in the, he'll be able to explain his he'll spill, but he's coming on and he's going to share what he does, and he's doing a lot of one-on-one counseling now
We need
because of the
more clinicians.
COVID. So maybe that'll help some of us get through with some of the things that we may be dealing with. Like Shakita, like said, like right now, I lost two people in my family in the last 3 weeks. A bunch of other people that I've known all my life, like aunts and uncles, and like, what would happen if I didn't have a good relationship with them, or they didn't, or I left a stone unturned? Like, how would I feel not having that closure? I mean, of course, you want to say your last goodbyes or whatever, but some of us we live a life of wreaking a lot of havoc.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Borrowing money from family members, saying we're gonna pay it back and not pay it back, and then something happened, and then like that guilt. So for me, like I said earlier, Chiquita, this is a good topic that I believe we all should look at, because we do need to have some type of closure so we can heal and be healthy, because obviously we wouldn't be able to have shows like this if our village was intact. Our village is
Right.
broken.
Right. And I understand that, the village isn't everybody's responsibility. I understand that everybody is not an extension of their village. I understand that they don't really believe in that any longer, or they believe that that doesn't exist. Right. So, my village is not my six neighbors, but I have a girlfriend that lives a few miles down. My sister lives in town. Like literally, I can pretty much go anywhere I need to go in New Jersey and a few other states and out of the country, because I know I have people that will support me and take care of me and look out for me. That's important. So, we need it. We need to be strong. We need to have a good, strong foundation. Um, and like Keisha said, I now don't need closure, but then I also, because sometimes I don't need closure, it makes me a little mean. Um, To be honest, if we being honest, it makes me a little mean when um I'm walking away from something, right? So if the relationship isn't going the way that I deem necessary for my better health, socially, mentally, and physically, I feel like there's no need to continue. And I'm very honest about that. Like I'm not the kind of person where I'm gonna ghost you or I'm gonna ignore you when something isn't working. I will literally just say, this isn't working. I don't think just don't think this is a good idea. And whatever happens from this point, is really I never say, oh, let's be friends, because everybody can't handle being friends. So I always say, we can still stay in contact and we can go from there, because after I tell you that, you might not want to talk to me. So I'm not gonna tell you that being my friend is the adult thing to do and shame you into this relationship that you can't handle, this so-called friendship you can't handle. So I'm absolutely not going to say that, but we can definitely stay in contact and see what's going to happen. So I I remember getting into an argument with a significant other and just feeling like, all right, well, fine, we don't have to do this shit. Just we want to be out. And at some point he was like, so you just wasn't gonna call me? And I was like, nope, wasn't. But that's me sometimes getting in my own way, because I would have missed this particular person. You know what I mean? And having to handle closure a lot on your own, and having to process your own feelings, because nobody is your counselor. If you're breaking up with somebody, they want their way, you want their way. So having to process a lot of feelings on your own does cause you to put up a shield when it comes to separating yourself from somebody. But I absolutely would have missed this person. And I'm glad that they called just to have a conversation, just a basic conversation with me. You know what I mean? So it does put me in a place where, I could be a little cutthroat, well, fine.
I always say, when people break up, one person gonna play victim. Both of us can't be the victim. So somebody got to be the victim, and somebody got to be the one that did the victimizing. Both can't be victim. What you think, Keisha?
I don't know. Like romantic relationships, not that I'm so hard or I don't care. I don't think I fight for them as hard as what I would do with my friendships or my family relationships. It sounds weird, but my village is important. Like told Quentin the other day, me and my brother, we was having it out. We was in his office, we was arguing. We yelling at each other. We got it out. We went to the lodge. We went and had a drink. We rode in the car together. That was important to me, to clear it off my chest, for him to clear off his chest, and then we're moving on. Romantic relationships, I don't think that I'm serious enough with anybody outside of my friend that I don't care enough. If I don't care. I don't care enough. I mean, I care about friendship. So if you're in a friendship with me, if you're in a romantic relationship, the friendship is what's important, because that's what's always going to be there. Like, I'm friends with majority of my exes. Like, don't call me, but if I see you somewhere, I'm gonna give you a hug. Like, yeah. So I just don't know. Now my friend, he ain't going nowhere. So I say what I feel.
Yeah.
So it's no need for no closure, because when you getting on my nerves, I say you getting on my goddamn nerves. I say what I feel. 20 years ago, I might not have said what I felt so much, and I might have been like, well, why? And I need closure. But I think counseling is good. I really do. That helps you get a lot of closure.
One of the things, and anybody that's watching Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, feel free to ask any question or statement that you want in the chat, as well as you could text the number on the screen, 570-795-4283, or call. I'll be able to hear you, but Shakita and Keisha might not be able to hear you. But see, one of the issues, Keisha, is that even with the closure, maybe because you got a short fuse and you'll be ready to tell somebody, you know what, let's fight. whether it's guy or girl. So maybe it's you knowing yourself a little bit
Yeah,
more now.
yeah, that could be it. I mean, but I was always like that. I knew that about myself then. Um, you have to understand. Like I'm raised in a two-parent household, and they've been together since my mother was a teenager. And my mother ignored a lot of stuff. She'll tell you right now today, I don't even hear him. So I'm kind of raised up. I do the same things. So a lot of times I don't even hear the stuff or I look past the stuff. Well, that's what I used to do when I was younger. So I think that's why I needed closure because I never told somebody how I was feeling. Because from what I'm taught is he's crazy. I don't even hear him. You hear him? Like she literally does this today. So, but as an adult now, it's like, okay, pump your brakes. You said this to me, and it made me feel this way. So, the process of the communication is happening faster for me now.
Do you guys think that because somebody has not had the proper closure, they subject their anger and their hurt off on everybody?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing worse than like,
A
trying
bitter
to.
person.
Absolutely. And then anytime you have any discussions about anything, it's always the most negative, it's almost the most negative way. And I can see if I can see if we're having a conversation and we're discussing the negative aspects of a relationship. But if you have the opportunity to speak for yourself and be positive, why wouldn't you take that opportunity? Why everything you have to say has to be from a negative perspective? Like I could sit here right now and go on and on and on about how women are stupid and they need so much attention and that's why they be out there busting people windows open and stalking people. I don't know nobody like that. I'm not I'm not from that space. I don't know nobody like that. I've never experienced it. Like I know people who have gone through some shit and had to roll up on niggas to see it for themselves and had the opportunity to tear shit up and be like, all right, walk away, block Joker, and that be the end of it. You understand what I'm saying? So if I can have that, if I can tell you that and show you, granted, you had to go home and process this shit and talk about it and get over it on your own because you never got the closure you needed from the other person. But why would I be having these conversations about shit I've seen on the news when I can literally tell you about people who have gone through real shit and literally just had to eat it? You could easily slash tires, bust out fucking windows, ring the fucking doorbell, hey, everybody come outside, fight, jump on jokers. But for
Is
what?
that closure or is that control right there? That
Well,
sounds.
if you know that your man is in the house with somebody else, what that's and you want to know what's going on. You want to ask questions. You want to see what's happening. You have a choice. You can either try to get that closure by ringing that doorbell, or you can just say to yourself, you know what? I see with my own eyes. I don't need any more proof. Let me go home.
Back in the day, they used to call people that did stuff like that people that commit acts of crime of passion.
Right. So I ain't even gonna say nothing. Because y'all already know how me and Mars was rolling. We was ringing ding ding. But that was in my youth.
Right.
I ain't got no time for that because to me, I kind of feel like people know when they stuff not right. It's I don't know. And at this stage in my life, I don't see many people getting stuff over on people. People are accepting stuff. And I think that not the sidebar, that's why sometimes certain women, if you're clear, I want this, I want this, I want this, I'm not deviating, people get upset because it is women, grown ass women, that just accepted anything.
Right, but then those very same women who ask you to be honest, or men, even men, they ask you to be honest and they say, look, just put it all on the table. You know, if you want to go and do X, Y, and Z, that's fine. Go on, go and do that. And then you
Mm-hmm.
have people who will still go behind your back and do some dirty shit. And that's where you're at that place where you're like, do I need closure? Do I have to have this conversation? And typically you do. Typically you do have to have the kind of have the conversation. I asked you to be honest with me and tell me. I
Mm-hmm.
asked you to tell me if you wanted to go and be with somebody else to tell me. They really
Mm-hmm.
honestly and truthfully don't believe that they can tell you that. You know what I mean? Like they just don't think that they can tell you that.
See, I get it, but that's like the baby boy syndrome. Ain't nobody looking for no baby boy. Um, you should be able to say what you mean and mean what you say. And I feel like that if you're so bitter or you're so damaged from your last relationship, then you should work on yourself before you even entertain getting into another relationship. Now that's
I don't,
just me.
Keisha. I don't think that individual realizes that they're damaged. I
Right.
really think that when they get to that point, they're like, it's everybody else. They still getting what they want. Definitely, if it's a physical thing, they still getting what they want. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's not me. She be tripping, or this chick be tripping. She mad because of this. The next relationship mad because of that. So the person can walk around until they're grown or old and realize that they never been accountable for nothing, and they've been deflecting their lack of closure with some childhood issues off on every relationship that they've had.
But Quentin, that's just like that video I posted about a week
Uh
ago with the black men. I think they might have been African, I don't know, but they were both two or three beautiful men in the video, right? And the man said he takes issue with men who come into a woman's life, get her to put her guard down, takes whatever he wants, and then he leaves. Leave and not just we're not compatible. I want to date somebody else. That's not what he meant. He meant leave and leave the woman with um just to be broad, no closure. She's hurt, she's in pain, she's dealing with different things. And then a new man comes along and he wants to heal her and fix her and he wants to love her and get to know her. But because of what she's been through in her past relationship, she refuses and she treats him like shit. And then he turns around and then he goes and he finds a woman and he says, well, you know what? I tried to love somebody. I tried to show somebody that all men are not the same. I'm a good guy. And she wouldn't do it. She hurt me. So now I'm not doing this for anyone, for any women. I'm just gonna go and hurt them. And then the cycle goes back to the very beginning when you walk into a woman's life and you don't trust them. You don't trust them. You don't think that they're gonna do you well. You worried about them taking your money. You worried about them just using you for sex. You worried about them using you as a babysitter or just some joker to help you get over your last relationship. And you don't approach relationships with a fresh heart and a fresh mind.
Well,
So it's the same thing. But again, everybody, like, if you don't get closure, how do you take it out on everybody else? And it's because they just don't see that they need it. They
well,
think that they're fine.
the video for those that's watching or in the assisting group, the video that Shakita is talking about, she posted a video in the Let's Talk group, as well as Keisha gave a plug to Bitter Men and Bitter Women. We did a show about a month and a half ago on Bitter Men and Bitter Women, so that's also a plug. Shakita, I really like that video that you put up that
Hmm.
day, and one of the things that I noticed is that most men won't admit this, and it's really like two aspects, two type of thinking that men get when they see stuff like that. They'll look at that video and say, okay, the brother's right. I can identify with him. He
Hmm.
right. And then it's another type of dude that'll be like, this cat simping for the women. Or he caping for women. He trying to brown nose to sound like, the dude Darren Jackson. sort of say, I'm just Derek Jackson sort of say. I'm not saying I follow the boy on Instagram myself. So I'm not gonna say he don't got no good information. But sometimes the way he comes off, people's perception sometimes is, man, this joker simping, man. He running around here saying all this good stuff. He know it's not really like that when you dealing in relationships. Because a lot of times what men do is, and you always say it to me when we be conversating, is a lot of men don't confront or even try to empower other men. They'll let them say and do all types of crazy stuff to women and just be like, okay, you good, bro. Like, you know this guy and you friends with him and you let him disrespect women.
Right.
So it's like a co-signing type of thing. So it's really a dynamic of. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. It's a friend of the show, and he explained to me. He said, what one of the things that we have to understand as individuals, that men and women, we communicate with each other different, as well as we communicate with ourselves different. And a lot of times, what we try to do is try to fix the way we communicate. Like you and Keisha have a different relationship than me and you or me and Keisha. I shouldn't be trying to get y'all to communicate the way I communicate with both of y'all as individuals. And I
Right.
think that's one of the biggest issues with people with when it comes to having closure and dealing with things they've done in the past is that they want to, like Keisha said, they want you to forgive them, but sometimes the forgiveness be coming with other stuff. Oh yeah, you
Mhm.
sorry, but you ain't
Mhm.
really saying you sorry because you sorry. You saying you sorry because you want some pie.
Right.
Right. Or you want a second chance. It's like, I don't even want to answer the phone because then you're gonna start asking me about being back with me, and I don't want to be with you. And a lot of men go through that too. Like they handle. I see it differently. They'll do something messed up. The girl gets mad. She wants to break up, but then she also wants to talk and have conversation and understand why he did this. He, on the other hand, he's like, well, shit, I'm finally free. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be bothered. I'm free. And the first thing she want to know is, well, why can't we be together? He he just cheated on you. He doesn't want to be with
Right.
you. He just did you dirty. Why are you all how are you crying in the same conversation where you're looking for closure and you still want trying to figure out why does somebody want to be with you? I just don't understand it. And it makes
And
it difficult to get rid of people too. Like I've had to
right.
tell somebody like, you're not going to hold me hostage in a relationship if I no longer want to be with you. You're not going to keep asking me to be together and telling me that we can't break up. Yes, we can. And I'm going to break up with you and it's over. That's it. You're not going to hold me hostage. I don't want to be with you no more. That's it.
Well, I think when it came to the picture that Shakita posted, I agree, Quentin, but I think it's like two ways of thinking. It's like one way of thinking, like, yeah, I know jokers like this. He right. But it's another way of thinking as if it was an attack or a judgment against how people may live their life. Because to me, when I listened to it, it didn't have anything to do with like a preference or this or that. It had to do with people not being honest. If
Mm-hmm.
like my nephews, I got one, he a little playboy. He's honest, but we know women. Some women don't believe when people is honest with them, when men are honest with them, because they still coming around. So if you still
Right.
coming around and you still taking me out, even though if he's saying, I don't want a relationship, I don't like you that way, some women look past that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a different type of situation. And then those women require closure too, because
Mm-hmm.
these are the women they getting pregnant. But I don't want to be in a relationship with you. How you get it pregnant? You
Right.
know, um, so people just have to be very cognizant of the of and aware of the things that they're saying and what they're doing to people, so you won't leave carnage and wreckage behind you. So I
Exactly.
don't know if that comes with maturity or it's how you was I mean, I don't know you I mean, because I know men, I'm from with a bunch of men. That's how I know that that meme is true. I got brothers and cousins. I mean, I've watched it. They come back and tell you, you know. So
But then, Keisha, but some men who don't get that are the very same men who don't have these conversations with their women in their lives because they don't have any or they don't care. Like I've never come across a man who was significant in my life and had never had a real conversation with me, never quote unquote schooled me or gave me the game. You understand what I'm
right.
saying? So
Hmm.
when I hear men have conversations like that, when I know men who are so intelligent, whether it's because of, because they've been to school, because they've been in the street, because they of religion or whatever the case may be. When I know men that are so intelligent, and I hear other men have conversations like that video where he was able to articulate himself and really say, "Look, I'm talking to the men here. I'm talking about the damage that you do and how you go from woman to woman and you leave these households without fathers." Because literally, it said all of that in the video. You leave these households without fathers. You leave these women that are broken. All of these things that you leave behind. When another man hears that and doesn't say, "Yeah, that's true," even if that's not your life, it's a life for somebody. If you're a man and you hear another man say that and you don't agree, you don't have to agree because it might not be you personally, but you can relate to what he's saying. It makes me uncomfortable because what man would listen to a man speaking to the men who that is directed to and have and take issue with that and call that man a simp or a wimp or a coward, like, or whatever the case. How did you say that? Like, and then you the same joker that's mad that you don't have women you can date or women don't want to date you because they quote unquote so angry. They're angry for a reason. So if a man is saying we have to stop treating women like this and we have to stop leaving houses fatherless, and you're saying this is probably the reason why you don't have a woman, then how is he a simp? Doesn't make any sense. Don't you have a
And yeah,
mother? Don't you have a mother? You want somebody to treat your mother like that? If you
but
had
I
a daughter,
think
you want somebody to treat your daughter like that?
they're also not taking into consideration that the next man that that woman gets with, she leaves wreckage on him. So you could be that man. So like it's just like a vicious cycle of, and that's not to say, I don't want to say that as if women are perfect. I think that is another challenge. Like it's trifling women. We know trash ass women.
Word.
And they need to get themselves together too. You know what I mean? Um
Mm.
so and but it's requiring other people that's trying to be into stuff to require all this closure and all this therapy and all these different things because people are
Exactly.
not being honest.
Be better people. Like, you could literally just be a better person. And perfect example. I had a friend who, in hindsight, I realized she was not a good friend, but I didn't realize it at first, right? And we were friends for a long time because I'm the kind of person that doesn't require a lot of attention and like one on one. So, Keisha, when I show up around y'all, I'm by myself. I don't come with an entourage. I don't come with an entourage with any of my friends. It's usually just me. I'm usually everybody's one single friend. So even if they got other friends, I come alone, right? They hang out with me by myself. So I don't you don't notice how people behave, but when I look back at all of her other friendships that she's had with other people, it all freaking makes sense now, right? Like everybody is like, they try to make plans with her, hang out with her, she cancels, she don't show up. You'll call her the night of, she don't respond, she don't answer. You call her, she don't call you back. You text her, she don't text you back. She doesn't your life events that go on in your life, she disappears. She don't know what's going on, but she's all on social media responding and posting on people's posts, acting and behaving as if she's your friend. But she don't, she misses out on everything and she disappears all the fucking time and can't maintain to have any relationships. and then literally wonders why she literally has no girlfriends, not a single one. And God forbid she gets a boyfriend, she has no female friends, not a single friend. It just be her and him. And sometimes, and then you think to you, and then she gets, and I remember hearing her stories about how, like, oh, such and such isn't speaking to me. I don't know what I did. And I would be like, maybe you should like call her. Or something. Me not knowing no better. But now that I look back at it, some people just don't know how to be friends. They don't know how to be in relationships. They don't know what it means to be significant to another person. You know what I mean? They don't know how to, that village concept or that loving concept is simply just not there for them. And they, like you said, they wreak havoc on everybody that they come in contact with. And then it's a toxic environment that comes along with them. And as a regular normal person, you don't even realize that you're going through this and you're dealing with this, and it's unfair. And then here you go. Then now you need closure because somebody has mistreated you and done something to you. And then, or they show up a few months later. Hey, how you doing? Like nothing has ever happened. And because you have to be the bigger person, because, society tells you, well, be a bigger person, turn the other cheek, be godlike. So you just ignore all of that and act like it didn't happen. And you just like, yeah, I'm doing good. And you try to not make a big deal about it, but you can't engage with people like that. And you can't be friends with them. And you cannot have relationships with them, because if closure is something that you require, and when somebody hurts you, then you need to be particular about who you let in your space.
That's
One
true.
of the statements on Facebook I thought was funny was two statements. One was by my buddy. He said, most people don't listen with the intent to understand; they listen with the intent to reply, and that is true. We see that every day in the group. I mean, a person won't even click on the daggone link before they reply to the picture. And
Right.
another statement by Stan the Man.
Where you go?
So that's
What
why I
does
was
Stan
laughing.
say?
He said, "Word, he's dated a couple of vampires." When y'all was
Mm-hmm.
discussing about some
Energy
trashy
drainers.
women,
Mm-hmm.
that's always a topic for another show, which would be great. Like Annette said, sometimes people get mad at you for not settling. Basically, that's what she
Mm-hmm.
said,
Hmm.
You
and
can't even get away from them.
we see that a lot.
You know how many
Um,
times somebody has said to me, I've had a man say to me out of pure anger, because I didn't want to date him. I didn't want to go further with any more dates. I didn't want to go out with him anymore. That's why you by yourself. That's why you can't find no man. You know what I'm saying? Here I am trying to be good to you. And I was just like, I don't I don't want whatever good you got. I just don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, how am I? How do you take all of that shit out on me? I don't like you like that. I don't want to date you. And I get you're a good person, but be good to somebody else. I don't want you. How do you?
so to interact with um our illustrious chat, Stan said that Keisha was there for all the stories that he used to have to tell her about dating these vampires.
I was.
So
I was.
you was his counselor, and that was good. He needed a woman's perspective and to vent to. And this is one of the things with closure, that sometimes you need to talk to the opposite sex to move forward. Like I don't know if I discussed this before in one of the shows, but I have more female friends now than I ever had, and it's kind of interesting because I never had this many female friends. Well, I had them, but I didn't look at them as friends. I looked at them as other things, and I was trying to do other things.
Hmm.
But as they say, uh, you know, when I was a boy, I did childish things, but now I'm a
Hmm.
man, and you know. But anyway, so like he said, somebody said that's arrogance talking. What do you mean that's arrogance talking? I need somebody to clarify that statement. I didn't understand it.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I
probably
don't
when
understand.
when somebody was trying to make me date them and I didn't want to.
Oh, that's Stan said. Stan said he got more than the law could allow. Talk about dealing with the energy vampires. Energy vampires is something we could really discuss in detail one day about how it could be your mate, it could be anybody that just come and suck the whole energy out the room.
Yes, or just
Social
be, or just
media.
I tell people all the time, like when people be like, "Oh, you should," like when you meet somebody and they be like, "Oh, they be begging to take you out, they be begging to spend time with you. You don't even have nothing in common. They literally just want to sit across from you and suck the fucking life out of you, and it's too much. They pick your brain all night long. They don't engage in conversation. They have nothing to offer in the conversation. You ever be talking to somebody like that just wants you to just constantly give, and be so
Well,
insightful
I
and so
think,
fucking intelligent. And you be like, well, damn, what are your thoughts? Like, all they want to do is just suck the life out of you. They contribute nothing, even to friendship. They contribute nothing to the friendship. You call and they ask you how you doing. They want you to run down your whole life for the past week because you ain't spoke to them. You might say, what you been up to? Nothing. They have
I
nothing
think
We
to contribute.
we definitely have to discuss this in another show because that
what.
is very very is serious and it's interesting. Those that may not believe in energy, I believe that if we have a show on it and explain it in depth more, I believe that people will get an understanding of what we mean by energy vampires and people just literally coming in your space and sucking the life of the wind out the room.
Right.
Shalonda gave us my favorite meme with the lady with the ice.
Oh, yeah, but I don't even know. That energy draining is something else. Like it just sucks the air out of you. You just can't even freaking breathe. And I
What
just
is what
don't
is
want
Look,
those
I'm
type
gonna
of
ask you. I'm
people in
gonna
my
ask y'all a
space.
question. I don't want us to go too far, right? But did you ever, and it be somebody that's close to you, they ever call you and you be in a uh whole nother level, and they call you and they just start dumping, and you be like, "Yo, let me call you right back," because you be like, "I can't deal with their energy right now. I'm on
Right.
a whole different level. I cannot deal with that." Phew.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that and experience that and go through that. I don't. I had somebody that, like I said yesterday, somebody called me, asked me for advice, and they felt like their friend was dumping and just dumps everything on them, and they get sick and tired of talking about it. I'm not one of those friends that we're friends, but I've had people who um, I don't know. I ain't gonna say. I don't know if they watching. But
but
I've had people dump stuff
Shakita,
on me to
Sh-
be connected to me because they knew that if there was no emotional connection, they wouldn't be able to talk to me. So they would have this fictitious drama, like I'm going through
Shakita,
this, going through that, and they know that I'm like, oh my God, talk to me, tell me, and then
Oh, you know what?
now
but
that I know
Shakita,
that I got their
you
number,
know,
I've been like, "Mm-mm."
daggone well when you was younger, one of your parents said to you, "You woke up on the wrong side of the bed." That was that energy. That's that energy right there. Because we smart when we kids. You be like, "How I woke up on the wrong side of the bed? My bed is against the wall." So you be
Yeah.
all, as you always say, you be sassy.
I do,
So
I do, I do. I get a little, and I do, I get it. But I know people who will deliberately have issues so that they can connect to you, and
You know
it's
what?
the same
I,
thing.
I was gonna say, Shakita, somehow it has been lost that intelligence is sexy.
Mm,
So like when you were talking about going out and like they don't have anything to say, nobody wants to go out with somebody that don't have anything to say.
mm-mm.
Um, so I don't know where that it has been lost in translation. And you also can't be a know-it-all. It's a lot of
Mm.
people walking around here acting like they know all and be all, ain't left off the porch. Like, so it's just so for a person like you or me, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna drink, you're gonna have a high ass drink bill. But then I'll probably friend you, because I don't have a problem making somebody my friend or my cousin.
I
well,
So
can't do it. I used to years ago. I used to, like,
I
if I
think
get a
we
guy,
definitely.
I'm like, he's nice. I'll go out. Now I can't. I can't
oh
anymore.
yeah,
And I
no.
think it's because people like people get to know you through, social media. They get to know you through other people. They pick up on conversations and stuff, and they're like, oh, I think you're interested. I like to go out, and then I find myself, and this doesn't happen often, but once in a while, I find myself sitting across from somebody who's just asking me questions, literally just picking my brain all night long and contributing nothing. And then when you ask
Uh,
me something, it's a one-word answer, and I'm just like, and they're like, so maybe we can go out again, and I'd be like,
well, y'all know
no.
I'm quiet, so I'm gonna sit there and drink my damn Pinot Grigio and be on my
You know,
phone. Listen,
you
this what you asked for. I mean, I
I'm
don't
quiet,
know, but
but I speak when I'm spoken to. That's another thing. Like, I'm not gonna bother I'm not gonna say nothing to you. Don't say nothing to me. Like, I don't just randomly run around and try to
right.
hop into people's conversations. I don't do that. If you say
So
something to me, I'm gonna say something back to
so
you.
we gotta
But
we
in the
gotta
conversation, yeah, I
we
talk.
definitely got some content for another show. So we definitely gonna put our three minds together and come up with something Thursday or Friday for the audience. Like I said, anybody on Facebook and YouTube, make sure that you let us know what y'all would like to talk about or what y'all would like us to talk about. Give us the feedback, whether it's positive or negative. We're gonna look at it. For those on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. God, just the only way that the page is gonna grow is by likes and subscriptions. That's one of the things that sets off the algorithms for YouTube actually to promote the page. Somebody made an interesting statement at the end that said some people want to date the perception of you. That's true. Some
Mm,
people do want to
That's
mm.
date,
very true.
and we did. We're
Don't
gonna
even know you.
we're gonna definitely talk about that in the near future, and I'm gonna ask the ladies to say their last word for on closure, and then we're gonna wrap it up because it's getting kind of late for us, and we're older, so we need to be in bed at an early age.
For yourself.
Okay, what's up with closure? How are we gonna end the show?
If you require it, get it. Even if it comes down to writing it down, recording it, you know. If it's gonna be a toxic situation for you to get it from that person, then you're gonna have to figure out how you could get the closure to move on. But you got Keita.
Mm, I think people need to be okay with not receiving it. I think you need to, I think people have to re examine what they think closure is and what they think they deserve versus what they may or may not get. Everybody to some degree deserves some sort of closure, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And it doesn't mean that the say that even if you need closure doesn't mean it's going to be healthy. Like you said, it could turn out wrong. You could be requiring closure from a parent who has been absent or had abandoned you, and you keep reaching out to this person over and over again, and they're refusing to give you what you need. You might just have to walk away and let it go. You could have been, coming out of a long-term relationship with somebody and you never got the closure you needed. And then a week after having this long-term relationship, they're in love with somebody else and you can see them out and about. And you have all kinds of questions, all kinds of feelings. You don't know what's happening and you want to talk about it. Just you have to figure out a way to get it on your own, because closure eventually is something you process on your own anyway. You know what I mean? The person that you're trying to break from or the person you're trying to relate to isn't your counselor. That's not the person that you emotionally are going to go through the closure with. So you have to find your closure on your own.
One of the things that I love to say little
Shakita just
phrases.
made me think of a story to tell y'all after.
I think a little phrases that will keep me going. And I had a guy 30 years ago say something to me, and I always remembered. It was probably a little bit longer than 30 years, but I always remember what he said. And it's dealing with closure in a micro scheme. But he always said to me, "What have you done today to earn tomorrow?"
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm.
So with that, I'll close the show. And never be afraid to approach yourself and ask yourself, what have you done today to earn tomorrow? Thanks everybody for joining the show, and We appreciate y'all feedback. We appreciate your engagement. And remember to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook group. And we love the content as well. Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Good night.